I remember the exact moment I stopped being a skeptic. It wasn't dramatic, no blinding lights, no government agents. A Tuesday evening in Southern California. I sat across from a woman with tears streaming down her face describing something impossible, floating through her ceiling while her husband slept beside her. And I felt it, that cold, electric certainty crawling up my spine that she was telling the absolute truth. That moment changed everything. My name is Preston Dennett. I have spent over 35 years collecting these stories, more than 2,000 documented cases, carefully analyzed and cross-referenced. I have sat in living rooms filled with quiet desperation, in hospital waiting areas where fluorescent lights hummed overhead, in darkened parking lots at midnight, listening to ordinary people describe encounters that shatter every rational framework our civilization has constructed. Tonight, I am here to share some of the strangest, most haunting cases I have ever encountered. Stories that changed me, and perhaps will change you too. I want to start with a case that still makes the hair on my arms stand straight up. I was investigating a family in the San Fernando Valley, completely normal people. An accountant father, a schoolteacher mother, 2 teenage kids. They contacted me because objects were moving inside their home. Not rattling, not shifting, teleporting. Car keys disappeared from the kitchen counter and reappeared inside a sealed jar in the garage. Impossible. I held that jar in my hands, examining it from every angle. The seal was intact. There was no logical explanation for how those keys got inside. But what destroyed me emotionally was her response when I asked if she was frightened. She paused for a long time and whispered, "What scares me most isn't what's happening. It's that part of me feels like it's been happening my whole life and I just wasn't allowed to remember." That sentence haunts me to this day. It echoes in my mind, and it led me down a path of discovery, something troubling, something that challenged everything I thought I understood. Because the entities people encounter, the beings they describe with such certainty, they don't fit the templates we've been given. Not the gray aliens you see plastered across television screens and popular culture. No, the descriptions I collected were far stranger, far more genuinely alien in ways that suggested something operating completely beyond our cultural categories, beyond what our language could even describe. I spoke with a retired Marine, a decorated combat veteran who'd stared down genuine mortal danger. He sat across from me shaking as he described encountering what he called living geometry. It had no body, no face, no recognizable form, but it communicated with him in pure emotion. Not words, not images, pure compressed emotional data, like downloading an entire lifetime of feeling into 3 seconds. He wept openly, tears streaming down his weathered face, telling me this story. A Marine who had survived 2 grueling combat deployments, weeping in a diner booth over an encounter in his own backyard. I felt profound respect for that man in that moment. I felt something else too, a deep recognition that whatever these phenomena truly are, they are not playing by our rules. They are not respecting our categories. They operate on an entirely different framework altogether. One of the most physically documented cases I ever investigated involved a woman who woke up with triangular burns on her forearm, arranged in a perfect equilateral formation. I photographed them myself. I had a dermatologist examine them carefully. He could not explain their origin. They had not been caused by any heat source, not chemical burns, not self-inflicted. And this woman had dreamed the night before about standing in a field of brilliant blue light. Something examined her arm with an instrument that hummed in a frequency she could feel resonating through her teeth, vibrating down into her bones. She woke up, looked at her arm, and instead of screaming, instead of the terror you'd expect, she said she felt an overwhelming, inexplicable sense of being deeply, completely known by something vast and incomprehensibly intelligent. That duality is something I encounter constantly in this research. Terror and wonder existing simultaneously in the same human heart. It's the paradox that defines these encounters. I have investigated cases where multiple unconnected witnesses across different states describe the identical craft on the same night, down to precise structural details. A rotating amber band encircling the middle, 3 elongated windows, a distinctive sound like rushing water despite no water source anywhere nearby. The statistical probability of that kind of corroboration happening through coincidence or collective delusion is effectively 0. I have done that mathematical analysis many times, across many years. There was a night, I have to tell you about this night, when I was alone, driving back from an interview in the high desert outside Lancaster, California. It was around 2 in the morning, the highway empty and dark. I had my recorder on the seat beside me, full of testimony from a witness who had described their third encounter with something inexplicable. And then I saw something, low on the horizon, a formation of lights moving in absolute silence with a coherence and precision that no conventional aircraft could ever achieve. It was real. It was there. I pulled over, stepped out into the cold desert air, and I felt I want to be precise, recognized, not threatened, not in danger. I felt the way you do when someone across a crowded room makes deliberate eye contact, when the moment means something. I stood there for 4 minutes. I know because I checked my phone when I got back in the car. 4 minutes that felt like both 4 seconds and 4 hours simultaneously. And then, as suddenly as it began, they were gone. I sat behind the wheel in the gathering silence, and I understood in my bones why witnesses cry when they tell their stories. Because the experience is too large, too profound for ordinary language. And yet you desperately need another human being to understand what just happened to you. That desperation, that hunger to be believed, it is the thread connecting every single person in my 2,000+ case files. They are not seeking fame. Most of them actively avoid it, retreating into silence, carrying their burden alone. They come to me because they need someone to believe them without flinching, without judgment, without that familiar look of dismissal. And I have made a sacred commitment to be that person for them. I show up in their living rooms with my recording equipment and my careful questions, notebook in hand, ready to listen. What I'm really offering is this simple but profound thing. I believe you. Whatever happened to you was real. It matters. Your experience, your truth, deserves to be treated with absolute seriousness and respect. You deserve to be heard. I need to tell you about the children's cases, because they are simultaneously the most heartbreaking and the most evidentially compelling material I have encountered in decades. Children have no cultural template for UFOs before a certain age. A 4-year-old describing an encounter does not possess the cognitive architecture to fabricate something sophisticated or elaborate. They simply report what they experienced, without the filters and constructed narratives that adults have built around them. I have interviewed children who drew nearly identical beings, in different cities, in different years, with no possible connection between them. The drawings sit in folders in my office, and sometimes I take them out and lay them side by side. I feel the weight of what they represent pressing down on me, the undeniable reality of it. These are independent descriptions by independent young minds across vast geographic and temporal distances, separated by everything except the truth they witnessed. This is real. This is happening right now. And it has been happening for far longer than our civilization has possessed language sophisticated enough to describe it. The evidence sits in my files, accumulated over decades of relentless investigation. Photographs, medical records, police reports, audio recordings. Consistent testimony from witnesses across continents and generations, their stories corroborating one another with uncanny precision. I am not asking you to believe me. I'm asking something far simpler. Consider the genuine possibility that something extraordinarily real is unfolding on this planet, something that defies our current understanding. We have largely, collectively, chosen not to look. But the question remains, what are we willing to see? Don't take away fear from what I've shared. Fear is useless against the genuinely unknown. What I've cultivated across 35 years sitting with these stories is fierce, determined, open-hearted curiosity. That's what I want you to feel. Whatever is happening in our skies, in bedrooms and backyards across this planet, it is the most significant question our species has ever faced. We must answer it with open minds. I've given my life to this question, not because I have all the answers, I don't, but because the question itself is sacred. Every witness who trusted me with their story deserves to know someone took them seriously, documented their experience, and refused to look away. That promise drives me forward, case after case, year after year, because humanity needs to pay attention. That woman with tears streaming down her face 35 years ago, I never forgot her. I never will. Because what we're really talking about isn't phenomena in the sky. It's the profound human need to be believed, to be witnessed, to be known. Until we listen to what our neighbors, our friends, our loved ones have experienced, We cannot call ourselves conscious. That Tuesday changed me forever. And perhaps, in listening to these stories, something has changed in you as well.